Imagine coming home from the hell of deployment, only to find your quiet suburban street hiding a petty dictator in pearls and a pantsuit. That's what hit Jake Harlan like a gut punch when he pulled into the driveway of his dad's place in Willow Creek, Virginia, a neighborhood that looked like a postcard but felt like a prison yard thanks to the HOA's endless rulebook. But nothing prepared him for the night a self-righteous busybody decided his family's symbol of sacrifice was clutter, and took a match to it herself. The sun was dipping low over the manicured lawns of Willow Creek, casting long shadows that made the identical mailboxes look like tombstones in some twisted cemetery. Jake Harlan, fresh off a tour in the Middle East with the Army Rangers, inhaled the familiar mix of barbecue smoke and fertilizer, suburbia's perfume. His old man, Tom Harlan, a grizzled Vietnam vet who'd traded his fatigues for a lawnmower, stood on the porch with a beer in hand, his face cracking into a rare grin. "'Bout time you showed up, kid. Thought the desert swallowed you whole." Jake clapped his dad on the back, feeling the solid weight of the man who'd raised him on stories of foxholes and brotherhood. His eyes flicked to the front yard, where a simple wooden plaque stood proud under the American flag fluttering lazily in the breeze. Engraved on it were the names of the buddies Jake had lost: Ramirez, who took a bullet shielding him in Fallujah; Jenkins, blown apart by an IED on a routine patrol. Tom had put it up while Jake was away, a quiet tribute that said more than any speech. "Looks good, Pop," Jake said, his voice thick. "Real good." But Willow Creek wasn't the haven it pretended to be. Lurking behind the white picket fences was Brenda Whitaker, the HOA president, a woman who wielded her clipboard like a scepter and quoted bylaws like scripture. She'd been on a tear lately, fining folks for grass blades over 2 inches or holiday lights up a day too long. Community standards. She'd coo at meetings, her smile all teeth and no soul. Jake didn't know it yet, but Brenda had her sights on that plaque. To her, it was an unsightly memorial, disrupting the neighborhood's aesthetic harmony, as if etched names of the dead were on par with a rusty swing set. That evening, as Jake unpacked his duffel in his old room, Tom shuffled in with a cream-colored envelope, his jaw set like he was chewing nails. "Got this in the mail today. From Her Highness." Jake tore it open, scanning the typed drivel. "Violation notice. Unauthorized structure in front yard. Remove within 7 days or face fines. Signed, Brenda Whitaker, President, Willow Creek HOA." "An unauthorized structure?" Jake snorted, crumpling the paper. "It's a damn plaque for fallen soldiers, not a meth lab." Tom chuckled, but it was bitter, like old coffee. "That's Brenda for ya. Thinks she's saving the world one infraction at a time. Remember old Mr. Patel? She hounded him over his Diwali lights till he sold the house. Woman's got a god complex." Jake tossed the notice in the trash, figuring it was just noise. But deep down, a flicker of anger stirred, the kind that simmers slow, waiting for fuel. Across the cul-de-sac, in her spotless colonial with lace curtains, Brenda Whitaker sipped chamomile tea while peering through binoculars. "Look at that eyesore, Harold," she said to her husband, who nodded meekly from his recliner. Harold was her unofficial enforcer, a retired accountant who followed her like a shadow, enforcing rules with the enthusiasm of a wet mop. "They think they're special because of some war stories? Rules are rules." Her voice dripped with that fopalite venom, the kind that masks bigotry as bureaucracy. She'd already drafted the follow-up letter, her fingers itching to hit send on the HOA email blast labeling the Harlans as non-compliant residents. The next morning, Jake woke to birds chirping and the illusion of peace. He helped Tom mow the lawn, the plaque standing sentinel as they worked. "You know, son," Tom said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Back in Nam, we fought for freedom. Didn't think I'd have to defend a piece of wood in my own yard." Jake nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Flashes of sandstorms and sniper fire. The plaque wasn't just wood. It was an anchor, a reminder that the losses meant something. By noon, another envelope arrived. This one wasn't polite. Final warning: immediate removal required. Fines accruing at $50 per day. Potential lien on property. Brenda's signature looped like a noose. Jake's blood heated. "This is bullshit, Pop. They're treating us like criminals." Tom stared at the paper, his eyes narrowing. "Let 'em fine us. That plaque stays. It's for your brothers." His voice was steel, but Jake saw the weariness. The old man had battled enough wars. Word spread through the neighborhood grapevine. Mrs. Lopez next door whispered over the fence. "Brenda's on a power trip again. She fined me for my tomato plants last year. Said they were invasive." Jake forced a smile, but inside, he was cataloging every detail. He'd learned patience in the Rangers: observe, plan, strike. No rash moves. Yet, that night, as Jake lay awake, he heard a car door slam softly. Peeking out, he saw Brenda and Harold skulking across the street, flashlights bobbing. "What the hell?" he muttered, grabbing his phone to record. But by morning, nothing seemed amiss, until Tom stepped outside and cursed loud enough to wake the block. The plaque was smeared with black paint. The names illegible under the scrawl: "Comply or else." Jake's fists clenched. "They did this. I saw them out here." Tom nodded grimly. Security cam caught it all. Brenda herself, wielding the spray can like she's tagging gang turf. They watched the footage together, Brenda, in her cardigan and sensible shoes, glancing around furtively before defacing the memorial. Harold hovered, whispering, "Honey, is this necessary?" Her reply, caught faintly on audio, "Absolutely. They need to learn respect for authority." The audacity hit Jake like a slap. Respect? From a woman who'd never sacrificed a damn thing? He felt the rage bubble, but he swallowed it. "We don't react hot. We play smart." Tom grunted agreement, but his eyes burned. The violation escalated from there. Another notice slapped through the mail slot. Additional fine for vandalism cleanup, $200. As if they'd trashed their own tribute. Jake laughed. A dark, mirthless sound. "They're fining us for the mess they made? That's some next-level hypocrisy." Tom crumpled it. Classic Brenda. Twist the knife and call it a favor. Neighbors started buzzing. At the local diner, Jake overheard whispers. Heard the Harlans are troublemakers. Planted rumors. No doubt, Brenda's specialty. Manipulating the HOA newsletter to paint dissenters as villains. "They're disrespecting our beautiful community," she'd email. Her tone all wounded innocence. Jake bit his tongue, biding time, but the smears stung. Online, anonymous posts on the neighborhood Facebook group echoed, "Why do military types think they're above the rules?" He knew the source. Brenda's IP address would be a dead giveaway if he dug. One evening, Brenda knocked on their door, her face a mask of concern. "Mr. Harlan." "Jake," she said sweetly, Harold lurking behind like a bad omen. I hate to see this escalate. Just remove that item, and we can all move on. Jake leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. That item honors dead heroes. Ma'am. What's your beef with it? Her smile faltered, eyes flashing. It's not personal. It's about standards. Everyone follows them. Why can't you? Tom stepped forward. Because some standards are horseshit. Brenda. Like fining widows for overgrown weeds while you drive a Lexus off HOA dues. She huffed, clutching her pearls literally. How dare you? I volunteer my time for this community. Jake smirked inwardly. Volunteer? More like dictate. We'll think about it, he lied, shutting the door. As she stormed off, muttering to Harold, ungrateful vets. Always playing the hero card, Jake's resolve hardened. The game was on. The tension built like a storm cloud over Willow Creek. Jake started documenting everything: emails, notices, even Brenda's social media rants about maintaining property values. He reached out discreetly to other victims. The single mom fined for her kid's bike in the driveway. The elderly couple harassed over bird feeders. She's a bully, one said. But no one fights back. Jake's reply, someone has to. Then came the real spark. Waking to the stench of chemicals at 3 a.m., Jake bolted downstairs. Tom was already outside, flashlight in hand, staring at the yard. The plaque was gone. Splintered wood scattered, names charred to ash in a smoldering pile. The American flag lay trampled beside it, soaked in what smelled like gasoline. They burned it, Tom growled, voice raw. Jake's world spun. Those names, his brothers, reduced to cinders by a suburban despot. The security footage was damning. Brenda and Harold. No stealth, just brazen entitlement. She doused the plaque, lit the match, and watched it burn with a satisfied nod. Harold fidgeted. Brenda, this is crossing a line. Her snap. No. Harold, this is enforcing one. Jake's anger turned cold, calculating. We've got her now. But Brenda wasn't done twisting. The next mail brought a fine for hazardous waste on the lawn, the ashes she'd created. $500. Jake's laugh was hollow. She burns our memorial and bills us for cleanup? That's not just petty. It's psychotic. Tom's face darkened. She's trying to bury us in paper. Make us the bad guys. The neighborhood chatter turned vicious. At the HOA meeting that week, Brenda stood at the podium, voice quivering with feigned outrage. The Harlans have repeatedly violated our covenants, leading to unfortunate escalations. We must protect our values. A few nodded, but others shifted uncomfortably. Jake sat in the back, silent, eyes locked on her. When a neighbor asked, "What about the video of you burning their stuff?" Brenda's face reddened. That's doctored. Fake news from troublemakers. Her denial was so absurd. Jake almost chuckled, coughing to cover it. He started leaking the footage anonymously online, veteran forums, local news tips. Views skyrocketed. Comments poured in. This Karen thinks she's judge and jury? Burning a vet's memorial? That's un-American. Brenda's phone must have blown up. Jake imagined her scrolling, face paling, snapping at Harold. It's just a plaque. Why are they overreacting? Support trickled in. Vets from Tom's era showed up with coffee, sharing stories. We've got your six, one said. Jake felt the shift, the isolation cracking. But Brenda doubled down, sending goons, hired inspectors, to harass them daily, citing nonsense like uneven sidewalk cracks. "This is war," Jake whispered to Tom. "And she's losing ground." The escalation peaked when the video hit national news. HOA president caught torching Veterans Memorial, headlines screamed. Protests formed. Vets in uniform picketing Brenda's house silently. Signs reading "Honor over HOA." She called the cops, claiming harassment. But the officers, one a vet himself, just shrugged. "They're on public property, ma'am." Free speech. Brenda's facade crumbled at the next board meeting. "This is a witch hunt," she shrieked, pounding the table. "I was upholding standards." Board members eyed each other nervously. One muttered, "Upholding? You committed arson." Her retort, "It was a controlled burn. For safety." The room erupted in laughter. Bitter. Mocking. Jake, watching from outside, felt that sweet rush of schadenfreude. Lawsuits followed. Pro bono lawyers from veteran groups sued for destruction of property, emotional distress, and federal violations under the Service Members Civil Relief Act. "She targeted a military family," the lead attorney said. "That's not oversight. That's malice." Digging revealed Brenda's dirt, embezzled dues, selective fines favoring her cronies, even forcing sales for kickbacks. The state AG launched an investigation, anonymous tips flooding in, likely from Harold, who jumped ship. Board members resigned en masse, leaving Brenda isolated. At the emergency meeting, she ranted, "You're all traitors. I built this community." But the vote was unanimous. Removal. She signed the papers with a flourish that looked like a tantrum, storming out to face the media scrum and a line of stoic vets. Her scurry to her car, head down, was pure poetry, the queen dethroned. The HOA dissolved weeks later, crippled by debts and disgrace. Willow Creek breathed free. No more petty fines or midnight vandalism. Jake and Tom rebuilt the plaque, bigger, with gold-etched names. A new law passed, the Harlan Act, banning HOAs from messing with military tributes. Months on, at a veteran rally, Jake stood tall. This wasn't about wood and names. It was about standing against tyrants in our backyards. The crowd roared. Brenda vanished into obscurity, probably still muttering about standards in some forgotten condo. So, here's the question. Was Brenda the real villain, or just a product of a system that lets petty power corrupt absolutely? True or false? Could anyone become a HOA Karen if given the chance?